Guess what? School's out.
And what do you mean by that?
It's Baggy Hi-Fi time.
Greetings cats and kittens, welcome once again to Baggy Hi-Fi, this YouTube channel devoted to record collecting and the vinyl community here in the UK. I never knew Alice Cooper was a Baggy Hi-Fi subscriber, but I guess everyone in America is rather in a good mood at the moment. So welcome to the latest episode. I suggest we should go back in the house where it's a little bit warmer and see what records we're going to talk about today. That's better, back in the inner sanctum of Baggy Hi-Fi headquarters. Well, it has been quite a week. We've had the American election, of course. Over here in England, we've entered into a 1-month government lockdown, which means that all non-essential shops have closed, and gyms, etc., churches. So on Tuesday, which was the last day that people could do sort of general shopping, I was shopping for food. Tuesday afternoon, and thought I'd pop into Steeltown Music, which is a shop in the town where I live, which I've mentioned before. It sells mainly musical instruments, but it also has a used vinyl section, so I do pop in now and again to see whether there's any new second-hand vinyl in there. And when I walked in, I said to Matt, the owner, I said it's pre-lockdown panic vinyl buying. And that's what it was in a sense. I really wanted to just buy maybe a couple of records before the record shops closed once again, and we have to now resort to online buying once again. Not a tragedy really, but I'm sure most people watching this video enjoy the experience of digging through the bins and looking at trying to find things they want to buy. So anyway, I bought 2 records in Steeltown, and the first one is by the Beach Boys, and it's Sunflower, their 1970 album. It's on it's the first album they made for, I think it's for Reprise, yeah, but it's under the name Caribou, and also has the Brother logo on it as well, which was their Beach Boys company. Now by 1970 the Beach Boys were apparently almost bankrupt, and also with music sort of changing away from their brand of sunshiny harmony pop, was turning heavier, and I think the group felt that they was almost kind of becoming out of time. Now this album, Sunflower, is regarded as, by some people, as their finest album outside of Pet Sounds, which is quite a claim really, but it certainly is a group effort, which you can't say for a lot of late 60s and early 70s Beach Boys albums. I do have a lot of Beach Boys albums. I haven't really been listening to them lately, and I thought I'd take the plunge with Sunflower and see whether it does live up to its reputation. Well, I don't think it is quite as good as some of their other earlier 70s albums. In particular, one of my favourite really 70s Beach Boys album is Holland from 1973. I've always liked that one. But this one is a strong album. It's really nicely produced. It's quite lushly produced, and all the band are here: Brian Wilson, Alan Jardine, Carl Wilson, Mike Love, Bruce Johnston, and Dennis Wilson. And there seems to be quite a lot of collaboration in the songwriting department. Probably the strongest tune for me is Add Some Music to Your Day, and that really does have those lovely harmonies and beautiful chord changes that only really Brian Wilson could come up with. I mentioned that the group were conscious of their fading popularity, and they almost named this album the Fading Rock Group Revival, but in the end they settled for Sunflower. You can see Mike Love here. He's certainly going through his transcendental meditation phase, wearing the white robes. And I think he was following the same Maharishi that the Beatles were following for a while. And apparently the Maharishi, and this time this album was recorded, suggested that Mike Love should fast for a month, just drinking water and eating yogurt and drinking fruit juice, and he turned out after 3 weeks to be hospitalised. So strange period for the Beach Boys, but a strong album. And just want to mention before I put this one down is there's a lovely song on side 2 written by Brian Wilson called All I Want to Do. Suggest if you don't know that one, check that one out. Now the next album I bought at Steeltown Records in my pre-lockdown vinyl panic buying was this one from the glam era, Alvin Stardust. His first album, The Untouchable. I don't know whether Alvin Stardust means anything really in the States or even outside of the UK, but he was a big star of the glam era and beyond into the 80s as well. But this is his first album, was probably the time when he was most successful. Now the story behind Alvin Stardust is it was a name that was invented by the founder of Magnet Records, of which this album is on Magnet Records. He wrote and recorded a song called My Cuckoo, but didn't want to actually promote it or appear on TV with it. So he recruited a chappie called Bernard Jury, who later changed his name to Alvin Stardust, and mimed first of all to My Cuckoo after it became a hit, but he didn't actually sing on My Cuckoo. It was Peter Shelley who sang on that one, but Alvin did sing on all of his later releases. It's not a fantastic album. The best tracks probably are My Cuckoo and also Jealous Mind, which is a huge hit for Alvin. Interesting strand really in the glam rock era is a liking for sort of 1950s style rock and roll, and Alvin in his early incarnation as Shane Fenton had been a British rock and roller in the early 60s with only limited success. His success as Alvin Stardust was much bigger. But you look at other glam rock bands like Mud, and also to a certain extent Roxy Music have that kind of fascination with the 1950s, and Wizard of course from Roy Wood. It's an element of glam, and Alvin at this stage did wear this kind of Vince Taylor leather outfit and the 1950s sideboards and big black quiff and the black gloves. If you were a child in the 1970s, you probably would remember Alvin Stardust, but you would also remember him from a road safety campaign advert that he did for TV for the Green Cross Code. I'm going to show you that as the middle part of this video. So take advice from Alvin as he guides us across the roads of 1970s Britain.
Just look at them. They must be crackers. A double-decker bus could be right on top of them and they'd never even see it. Hey! You must be out of your tiny minds. When you cross the road, always use the Green Cross Code. Keep your wits about you and keep looking and listening. Great. See you, girls. Take it from me. Be smart. Be safe.
The second half of this video is going to be devoted to my first ever VCLT. Now, if you don't watch many Vinyl Community videos, that acronym won't mean anything to you really, but VCLT is when a member of the Vinyl Community sends a gift of a record or maybe a few records to another member of the Vinyl Community, and that's what happened a couple of days ago. I was talking to James Griffiths, who I think you'll all know for his videos about records, chatting in the comments of one of his videos about 10cc. Now, I don't own any 10cc records, but I do remember as a very young teenager being struck by some of their earlier singles, especially Rubber Bullets. I remember it made an impression on me, and I can even remember sitting in the car with my mum and dad on holiday and hearing it on the radio. But later releases by 10cc I didn't like at all, and so I've never really considered picking up any of their earlier albums, although I do know they are, you know, very highly regarded. And the lineup of 10cc was just like to use an old-fashioned term, a supergroup, because Eric Stewart had been in the Mindbenders in the 1960s, and Graham Gouldman, who was a member of 10cc, one of the songwriters, had written songs for the Hollies, Bus Stop and Look Through Any Window, and also for the Yardbirds, like For Your Love and Heart Full of Soul. So they were a grouping of strong songwriters. But so anyway, James Griffiths very kindly sent me two 10cc albums, and I know this first one in particular, actually this is their second album, Sheet Music, came out in 1974, and the hits on here were Silly Love and the Wall Street Shuffle. Very clever pop music, supremely crafted. Could come from no other era but the sort of early to mid 70s. Each phrase, each change of tempo, each lyrical pun, and there are many, is carefully considered. And I kind of placed 10cc in the post late Beatles strand of British pop music. In a sense, they sort of follow on from the cleverness of the medley on side 2 of Abbey Road. You know, very much a studio band, and all these tunes on here on these two albums. The second one James sent me is the original soundtrack, which features the huge hit from 1975, I'm Not in Love. Some of the pieces are kind of like mini operas with lots of tempo changes, etc. But they're not prog. That's the interesting thing about 10cc. They're very much in the English pop music tradition. So thanks, James, for sending me these two. I don't think I'll be buying any of their later albums, including such dreadful tunes as Dreadlock Holiday, but I have been enjoying listening to these, you might be surprised to hear, over the last few days, and in particular I like this one, Sheet Music from 1974. So that's it for this video, as we enter the first week of the English lockdown. I wonder how many of my other English compadres in the vinyl community will manage. Will they be able to just speak about records they've been buying online, or will they maybe kind of look back on what they already have? Because we all have probably too many records, and this lockdown might be a chance to actually sit down and listen to them a bit more carefully. So thanks for watching, thanks for your subscriptions and comments. I always enjoy interacting with those. Take care everyone, and bye for now.